In theology, we learned about so-called bedtime conversion. When somebody is dying and made a perfect contrition, we believe he or she would be saved no matter how sinful he or she was. God's ways are not our ways, my dear brothers and sisters. Today's gospel presents to us a parable which appears scandalous to many good Christians because the parable offers a clear picture of God who is unfair and unjust too. Reading the parable for the first time would lead us to the conclusion that there is certainly unfair labor practice. But the story should be read from a different angle or perspective. In this parable, Jesus wants to give an important lesson on the generosity and love of God, which is offered as pure gifts or as free gifts to all of us. Generosity means that we rejoice in the success and good fortune of others. The blessing that they receive reveals God's goodness. And what is envy? Envy to me, it is a kind of spiritual sickness that restricts the heart so that it cannot rejoice in the good of others. Therefore, as children of God, we have to be happy because we have a God who is one. He's eager to fill his heaven with people. We have a God who wants to save us and not condemn us. A God who, at the very last hour, is still saving souls. In other words, his offering of salvation is accessible to all. This parable of the vineyard workers could be renamed as the parable of the good employer. For what Jesus is stressing is the Father's merciful love and generosity, a love that seeks desperately to save men and women and give them the dignity of God's children. Second, God is eager to save us, his children. But this salvation is not transmitted by radio waves, but by the convinced and enthusiastic witness of a person who loves Christ deeply, personally, who sees the world as a mission field ready for the harvest, whose vision of faith penetrates the seemingly worldly character of daily life, and to see that there is a battle raging in the spirit between good and evil. Third, he is a generous God. Generosity means that we rejoice in the success and good fortune of others. The purpose of this parable, my dear brothers and sisters, is to emphasize the truth that we have a God who is compassionate, merciful, and generous. His actions go beyond the human understanding of fairness and justice. God gives us his blessing not because we merit them, but they are absolutely his free gift to us. And so, as God's children, my dear brothers and sisters, we have to realize also that salvation comes about one by one. We must know that to be prophetic apostles. Even though we are not on TV or writing best-sell books, we have to go about convincing others, not only by example and persuasion, but always an invitation to experience that mysterious new relationship that has transformed our lives. Therefore, we should not be hurt, but we should rather be grateful and rejoice that others will be called later and will receive the salvation. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, our challenge is to look at the people we meet today and see them as God sees them. The first will be the last, and the last will be the first. We are all moving towards one mission, that is reaching heaven. Many people might change at the last hour, and others still complain, I have been a Christian for many, many years, and this person has changed at the last minute. Look at the thief on the cross. I consider that thief as a true evangelizer. He preached the gospel to the other thief that listened to Jesus. We deserve it, but he doesn't. And right now is in the heaven. So my dear brothers and sisters, let us pray that every time we cling on Jesus.